Well, could desalination be the answer to the country's crippling water crisis? Well, right now we need all the ideas we can get. Well, Transnet, it seems, they think they do have at least one solution, and they want to have these desalination plants in place by 2025. That's very optimistic, isn't it? Well, South Africa has 10 plants dotted along the coast from Lambert's Bay in the west all the way to Richards Bay in the east. But can the company actually manage desalination and the cost of it? Never mind the infrastructure around this. Well, let's find out from Transnet National's Port Authority, Luvuyo Mkhontwana joining us this morning on the phone. Luvuyo, good to have you with us on eNCA. Very ambitious. We need all the ambitious plans we can think of, but 2025, that's quite a stretch, isn't it?
Good morning, Gareth, and good morning to the viewers. Gareth, as a Transnet National Ports Authority, for us it's quite important to provide infrastructure to our ports, and utilities just generally are one of the areas where we're providing that infrastructure. So desalination, as well as renewable energy and working on green hydrogen and liquefied natural gas at various ports are the things that we're working on. And 2025 for desalination is absolutely possible. From the work that we've done, Gareth, we believe that it can be done, and it will help us with our utilities development as well as being resilient and sustainable on utilities.
Let's talk about what you've currently got in place. Are these completely new desalination plants? Because I spoke about the 10 scattered across the coastline. The ones we're talking about for 2025, these desalination plants, are those new projects, or is it changing the infrastructure, updating it, upgrading it, etc., for the ones you've currently got, or are these completely new setups?
We've issued a request for information to the market because we're looking at one, new setups that we might have. We also are inquiring with regards to some that are already existing in the country. For example, there's a desalination in Mossel Bay, there's a plant in Richards Bay. So we're asking the market with regards to some of those plants that are there, and if any new plant is coming in, then what is it and how can we engage and partner with them in developing those. But most of them will be new desalination plants because most of the port system does not have one.
I imagine of all the desalination plants, whether it's the upgraded versions or, as you say, you're looking to get new ones built, I imagine there's a list of priorities, prioritized areas. I would have imagined that the Eastern Cape has got to be at the top of that list. Would that be a fair assumption?
That would be a fair assumption. We've seen day zero being approached in Cape Town, which was then averted. We're seeing what is happening in Nelson Mandela Bay, and I think your clip just now was showing that. There are certain challenges also in other port cities where we have taken note of what is happening with regards to water provision. So for us, it's quite important that that resilience happens across the port system, because the last thing we need is 2 years down the line, we're finding a new port city that's having a challenge, and we haven't resolved or at least thought about a solution to that. So for us, it's quite important that we look at all the port cities to increase their resilience.
Just a last question then. All good plans are fraught with dangers, as we know. How much red tape are you going to have to jump through? You mentioned 2025. You say you're looking for partners and experts to assist in all of this. How much red tape do you imagine you're going to have to cut through and wade through?
From what we have done, Gareth, I think there's a lot that the country has assisted with in terms of resolving some of these red tapes. And I appreciate that there's a few that still exist. But from within the TNPA system, we are quite confident that what we've set as a target to get the desalination plants by 2025 is absolutely doable. We have to just work a bit harder in making sure that our project delivery chain is ensuring its timelines are being met so that we get to that 2025 timeline.
I'll perhaps leave this as my very last question, because it just sparked something as you were talking about timelines. Timelines are one thing as well. Can you give us a sense of how much water, once all 10 plants, once all these plants are put up, are built and put into operation, how much water do you imagine is going to be created by these desalination plants?
Our port system varies, with some using over 0.4 megaliters per day, while others are up to 4 megaliters a day. If you take in total that system, we're talking about 12 megaliters per day that could be provided by the desalination plants across the port system.
Well, then I appreciate your time, and 2025 is not far away. Hopefully it does come to fruition before then, and in 2025 it could make a big difference to our water crisis in the country. Appreciate the time. A special projects at Transnet National Ports Authority, that being Luvuyo Mkhontwana, joining us here on the South African Morning.